Coach, why don't you begin with an opening statement, please?
Yeah, obviously, good start to November. Finishing up this road swing, coming on the road again. I told our guys in the locker room, you can go back and probably look. I don't know how many times someone has gone on the road 3 straight weeks in this conference and finished that stretch 3-0. And so it's a credit to the character we have in the locker room. It's a credit to the kids that we have in there and what they're doing to give themselves a chance to be successful. And I also thought today, again, we keep talking about how this team just finds ways to play complementary football. In the first half, offensively, we had our struggles. I thought defensively, we were able to hold it down. We got the big turnover to stretch the lead out. Defensively, in the second half, we kind of got on our heels a little bit, especially towards the end of the game. And I think offensively, we went out and put 2 critical drives together, the Reuben run and then that last drive, and to kind of ice the game away. And so I just think we did the things we needed to do to be successful, and we'll be excited to come back home. And the last thing I just want to say is just thank you to all the Aggie fans who are out here today. The 12th man certainly travels, and again, at the end of that game, it just was, it's an amazing scene seeing all the Aggie fans get behind us. And so thank you again to the 12th man. And I know they'll be in Kyle Field next week ready to roll. And so we're excited for that opportunity. So questions?
All in front row.
Mike, what was why was that the right time for the fake punt, and what did you see that made you think it'd be successful?
Yeah, I just, the momentum seemed like it kind of had gotten away. They had put the drive together. They went out and stopped us. It was 21-7, and we just, we've gotten some exotic punt block looks against us, and some people have been overloading things, and they're not sound against fake. And so they were trying to do it as well, and so we felt like we had an opportunity if the right time presented itself, and we took it.
To the right, Alex.
I'm just curious, you guys threw a lot of screens in that first half. Just how effective were those, and how much did it maybe help open up that run game in the second half?
Yeah, I thought it was big. They were going to load the box. We knew that. That's just kind of how they play, and and so we had to get the ball on the perimeter. We had to win on the perimeter. That was going to be a big part of it, and we caught him in an all-out blitz on the screen to KC, and if he gets the ball in his hands in space, it's going to be a problem. And so it was great check by Marcel, great execution, and we were able to put that in the end zone.
To the left, Travis.
Yeah, on that play, how much faith do you have in Marcel and what he's able to see to be able to make that check?
Yeah, again, he doesn't have the whole playbook at his disposal. I think a lot of what we do is we're packaging things, and but we have a lot of confidence in him to do the things that we're asking him to do.
Second row, Mark.
Mike, you guys ended up with 243 yards rushing. How impressed are you with your offensive line again grinding out yards and beating down a defense in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, I challenged them at halftime. I challenged both sides of the ball. That only one side of the ball responded, but that we had to go out and control the line of scrimmage better. We were getting outrushed by a lot at halftime. We knew that if it continued that way, we weren't going to find the success that we needed to find. And so offensively, we went out, and obviously the big run by Reuben helped. The big run by Dalton helped. But I think we were able to go out and kind of find a little bit better rhythm in the run game in the second half.
We'll go right here.
Now, obviously, in the past before you, A&M had struggled on the road late in the season, but you guys have been able to do that all year. What does it take to win games like this, especially when you get later into the year?
Is this like our weekly last year question? Yeah, I don't know about the past. I know that's 4 road games that this team has gone on the road and win. We're 4-0 this year on the road. We only got 1 left, so we'll finish this year with a winning record if my math is right. And I'm just proud of how these guys went out and did that.
Middle, second row.
Like big picture, I know it's not finished yet, but 9-0 through the country. How does this mesh with the vision that maybe you had when you came here to be the head coach?
From a CEO perspective, obviously, I believe this is what this program is capable of. I think that's why we're here. We're here because we believe the ceiling of this program is really high. It's why we took the job. It's why we came here as a family, and it's a really special place. When you mix, what we have from a university support standpoint, what we have from a fan base standpoint, and then what we have from a recruiting base standpoint, this is kind of what everyone has been talking about with this program for a long time. So, for 9 games, we've lived up to it, and we got to go finish.
Third row, Carter.
Mike, what would you say is the biggest difference? First 5 drives where you weren't really finishing the drives and kind of struggling to run the ball versus the rest of the game where running the ball and finishing those drives?
Yeah, we missed a couple things. I think, Marcel, certainly there were a couple throws we wish we would have had back. He had KC on the dig. That would have kept the drive going. But that's going to happen, right? And just, you get a little bit spoiled with this offense sometimes because, you want them to go out and score every time they have the ball, but I don't know what the reality of that actually is, right? There's times where people are going to stop us. There's times where we're not going to hit it exactly the way we want to, and I respect the question. That's not what I'm saying, but and so at the end of the day, you got to come in, you got to regroup at halftime, and you got to go out and play a better second half, and I thought we did that.
And Reed Adams, just what's kind of his status?
He should be fine.
Aaron.
Coach, you came to this game probably expecting to see a lot of Ahmad Hardy out of the Missouri run game. How did you guys adjust to facing more of Jamal Roberts instead?
The one guy had 17 for 110, the one guy had 13 for 109, so I would say we did an awful job adjusting to both of them.
Tyler in the back.
Mike, kind of going off Carter's question a little bit with the start and the finish. You said you get spoiled with the offense. You still put up 38 points. Just how impressed are you with what this offense is able to do, and especially when in a game like that where it seems a little sluggish?
Yeah, we have talented players and we have talented playmakers, and so you just feel like if you just stick to it, if you just stay with it, if you protect the football, you're going to give yourselves opportunities to go out and make plays. And so, again, there's not a lot of panic. We're not. You don't see us get flustered very often. It's just the thought is, okay, like next play, like what do we got to do? What do we got to find? How do we got to put this thing together to get going and get a rhythm? Obviously, Colin's a big part of that. He does a phenomenal job calling it, and we were able to find what we needed to find in the second half to go get it done.
Back up front to Alex.
What pleased you the most over this last month as y'all were able to string together these 3 road wins?
Again, I just think it's the ability to go into different environments, which is challenging. You have to bring your own energy. You have to bring your own emotion. You're going to have to overcome swings in the game. You're going to have to overcome emotions in the game. And to do that, you've got to be really, really strong in your core and in your culture, right? If you're not really strong in who you are as a team, then, at 21-7 when the momentum starts going your way, or, at LSU when the second quarter breaks the way it does, like you're not going to be able to respond if it kind of reveals who you really are sometimes. And this is a really good group, and I don't know what ultimately that means from a result standpoint, but the culture of this group is really strong. The work that they put into this thing is really strong, and they believe in each other and they believe in what we're doing, and I think that shows up a lot on the road in these hostile environments.
Mike, I just wanted to ask you, obviously you just expressed some frustration with the run defense, but still 17 points, and your defense made some plays that set up some scores. So what was just your overall thought on the defensive effort?
Yeah, overall, obviously, we did the things you wanted to see us do. We held them to 17 points. We were really good on third down again. I think they hit a couple that were not as meaningful, and then they hit some short yardage ones late. We held the passing game, obviously, in check. They challenged us with some deep balls. I thought for the most part we played well. We just got to get our run defense tightened up from a consistency standpoint, and I feel like we're much better at home than we are on the road with that, and we got to find the solution to that and figure out what that problem is and get it fixed.
Travis.
Why is Dalton Brooks the right guy for that position on that fake punt? What stands out about him for there?
He's a really good athlete. He's been telling me forever that he's a really good running back. He swears to me that he ran for a whole bunch of yards at Shiner. There's times where I tell him I don't believe him. I guess today I probably got to tell him I believe him. So I think he probably almost had about 100. I don't know how long the fumble recovery was, but he had probably 80 yards of 78 yards of total offense, and so he's a two-way player, I guess now. So, but no, he's a really good athlete, and he was a two-way kid in high school, and we knew that. And so sometimes when you call those plays, you feel a little bit better calling them based on who has the ball in their hands. That plays a big role in it, and so we have a lot of confidence in him.
Anything else for Coach? Oh, yep.
Just before the half, the strip sack, just how much did that give you guys momentum going into the half?
Yeah, I think the momentum was important for sure, but the separation I think was more important. We were fighting to try to create separation, and it was like both teams knew it. Their defense was obviously playing really, really well because that's what you do when you have a new starter at quarterback and you're trying to protect him and do all of that. I think we were trying to kind of get the lead stretched so that we could get him out of the comfort zone that they wanted to be in with him. And so I think more than momentum, I think just from a game control standpoint, it stretched it. And then we were able to come out and score to start the second half and stretch it to 3 scores, and there's a comfort in 3 scores, obviously, that just changes how the game plays a little bit. It's probably why we struggled a little bit against the run, because I think we got a little bit looser to try to not give up the big plays, and so we'll have to look at that and see what we got to adjust.